I recently finished Mafia the Old Country, and today I want to talk about whether or not it is the best Mafia game in the series, but whether or not it's better than Mafia 2. So let's not waste any more time, let's just get right into the video. I want to start off talking about the events near the end of the game and the ending itself. So spoilers obviously for Mafia the Old Country and Mafia 1 and 2, as I will be making a comparison to those games. But anyways, let's just continue. One of my worries about this game was that it would be watered down compared to the previous games, and I'm so happy that wasn't the case. A lot of people died, especially towards the end, some deserving of it and some not. One of the deaths was Luca, which genuinely hurt me. He was my favorite character in the game. I love the relationship he had with Enzo, him mentoring him and guiding Enzo. Luca was sorta like a father figure for Enzo, and he was honestly the only one besides Isabella and Leo who truly respected Enzo, and for him to die really hurt. Of course, once things started going right for him and his family is when he dies. His death was a big turning point for the characters in the game, and really put it into perspective for Enzo that no one is safe and that he can die at any time. It's one of the costs of being in the Mafia. You never know when things are going to turn out for the worst, and things only started to get crazier after that. This game did a good job with keeping me engaged, especially towards the end. I could not stop playing. I wanted to see what was going to happen next. That was amazing. The game made me care about its characters and invested in their journey and relationships. I could feel Isabella's frustration and anxiety. Just when you think her and Enzo can finally leave together, there's always one more thing he's gotta do, which increases the chances of them being found out, and the consequences of that only got worse with Isabella getting pregnant. I really rooted for them, and I wanted them to get the happy ending and be a family, but of course that didn't happen. In the end, Tino found out just as they were about to leave and start their new life, and Enzo died by the hands of his so-called friend after killing the man who gave him his new life in the Mafia. I also think it's poetic Enzo dying in the mines right where the game started, with him also killing Don Torisi. From start to finish, Enzo tried to get his respect, but I knew he would never respect Enzo, at least not enough for him to be okay with Enzo being with his daughter. I'm sure he did to some extent, but deep down, he always looked down on him and just saw him as lesser. The story overall was fantastic, and so was the ending, but I will get to the problems I have with it and the game itself after I talk about the gameplay. Compared to the previous Mafia games, the gameplay definitely was a step up, as I've mentioned in other videos. The driving was spectacular, definitely the best in the series. I'm so happy we got a good amount of driving sequences in the game because the handling and just how the car feels on the road is super smooth. Riding horses also wasn't too bad, it was actually pretty good. I enjoyed both the horse and car race missions, especially since I've been reading JoJo's Steel Ball Run, so they really reminded me of the manga. The stealth, once I got the hang of it, was also really fun, but one problem I do have is that the game really restricts you with the path you can take doing stealth. Most of the time there's only one or two paths to take, and when there's only one path, there's really only one way to go about the stealth and how you're gonna sneak past enemies, which I think kinda sucks. The shooting, even though it is a little stiff, was really nice, especially with the ragdoll and how enemies would react to being shot. And man, this game is freaking beautiful. Even though the story itself was pretty dark at times, the world was just so vibrant and colorful, which really makes itself stand out from the other games. But now let's talk about the problems I have with the ending and this game, and that is how they handle the villains. All of the major villains in this game and their conflicts end with a boss fight. Now I understand they developed the knife fighting and wanted us to soak our toes in it, but I really don't like how all of them were resolved with a boss fight, especially when it starts with a shootout and magically ends up as a knife fight. Like, you're telling me I had a shotgun on my back and a holstered pistol, and you tackle me and all of a sudden both of my guns are gone? Like, come on. I think it could have been so much better if it could be a simple bullet to the dome, because realistically speaking, that's how it would go. Like, obviously I know it's a video game, but at this point in the game, that's how it should have gone. It would have kept the game grounded. Like, I didn't have a problem with the first villain, but after that it was Cesare, then it was Don Torisi, which I strongly believe was a horrible idea to make him a boss. It could have been anyone else but him. After him, guess what? Now I have to fight Tino as Isabella after Enzo died. Torisi was supposed to be the final boss. At least they could have resolved the whole thing with Tino and Isabella in a cutscene. It had to be a whole 30-minute mission where you play as her, which I think just spoiled Enzo's death. It ruined it for me. And going back to the whole Cesare conflict where I had to fight him, I really didn't care. I was never sold with this whole thing of him and Enzo being friends. I mean, they had their moments together, but they were more like friendly co-workers than a brotherly bond. At least it was like that for me. That's how I see it. I think what would have made the whole fight work was if they gave us more heartfelt moments with him and Enzo, not just them working together. I'm talking about them actually seriously getting to know each other. But not just that, most of the missions in the game were Enzo going to get stuff done by himself. I think the game would have benefited from having more missions with Cesare. Like, even the ones we got with him were, hey, I'm gonna go with you, but you're gonna do all the work and I'll just wait for you outside until the shooting starts. And that's another problem. There were almost too many stealth missions, but I'm not gonna fault them for that because it does make sense in the context of the story. Can't just go shooting things up all the time. It's gonna bring attention to the Mafia. But he could have snuck in with us in the missions, help investigate or distract guards. Would have really sold the friendship for me with him helping out and having Enzo's back for a majority of the missions. It would have made fighting him a lot harder. Also, I always got the vibe he was kind of jealous of Enzo, especially with his dialogue and how he speaks towards him. So I did not care when I had to fight him, and I wasn't surprised when he killed Enzo. It still really hurt though. Enzo really thought of him as a friend. His death was expected, but it certainly was upsetting. I just wish the game ended there. It really felt kinda dragged. I don't know why they made Tino the final boss or why all the major villains were reduced to just knife fights when they could have gotten popped, or similar to Mafia 1, end with a shootout, pop a couple bullets into him and get a cutscene with a magnificent end. This game really does have a lot of similarities to the first game, which I do like. Both the main characters started off as working men until they joined the Mafia and proved their loyalty to the family and going against or just completely changing their morals. You've also got the girl, which I will say the love interest in this game was more developed than in the first game, which I really do like. I don't even remember what her name was in the first game. I think it was Mary or something, but she really felt one-dimensional. But is Mafia the Old Country the best Mafia game? Is it better than Mafia 2? Unfortunately, in my opinion, it's not. When I compare it to the masterpiece that is Mafia 2, it's really close. But Mafia 2 just did so many things right, especially with the story and the main character, Vito, and just the progression of the game from start to finish was damn near perfect. Starting with him doing a couple of small jobs with Joey until eventually the both of them worked their way up to being respected members of the Mafia, taking on more important missions and making more money than they could ever dream of until Vito ends up in prison. And you've got that segment which was just perfectly executed. It didn't feel too long or too short, and when Vito eventually gets out, the reality really hits him with how long he was in there. Everybody's dressing differently, there's new cars, and of course people got older. but he keeps working with them. And something that I really like about Mafia 2 is that it's not just Vito and Joey. There are other members that you work with and get to know, and even new missions with, and when they get canned, you really feel that. They're gone forever, and that immersion is just amazing. And of course, you've got the final mission as well, and the ending where Joey leaves in the other car. You don't know what's going to happen to him, but you know he's gone. And because of how well the game presented their friendship, you feel that hurt that Vito feels, that helplessness, that he's gone and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's just the surface. There are a lot of videos out there that go deeper into this, but with all of these things in the game, now that I really think about it, there was no way Mafia the Old Country was going to top Mafia 2. I'm not saying Mafia 4 is a bad game. It's quite amazing, and honestly, I would understand if you think it's the better game. It's really close. If I had to rate it, I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. But for me, Mafia 2 is a 10. And compared to the other games, how I'd rank it is Mafia 2 at number 1, Mafia 4 at 2, Mafia 1 at 3 because, I mean, it was the start of everything and it was just honestly really amazing. And you've got Mafia 3 at 4. But that's this video. Honestly, man, I was really hoping Mafia the Old Country would be the best, but when I really think about it, man, Mafia 2 is just a masterpiece. But I'd really like to know what you guys think. Whether you think Mafia the Old Country is the best Mafia game of all time, let me know if you agree or disagree. Also, sorry about this video uploading late. From now on, I'll go back to the usual video after 6 to 7 days, but this one did take a while because I really did have to play this game, and I did get stuck at some segments, but hey, I'm gonna go back to the regular schedule. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Dio My Stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.